Hey, family. It's Kim Love Jones here, certified relationship coach. I've been trying to go live every day, and I am here. I am here. And I also wanted to tell you all about my upcoming event. The tickets are going fast. I really would love for you all to buy a ticket. Support me, be a part of this workshop. This workshop is going to be phenomenal. We are going to have some vendors there as well as Monique Denton. She's going to be a part of the workshop. She is going to be the MC for me, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. We're going to be passing the mic. We're going to be healing. We're going to be doing activities. We are coming together with the mindset of being different, of being healed as we walk out of the Platter Wish Park restaurant and catering hall. It is going to be absolutely amazing. It is going to be dope, right? So I wanted to talk about today, I wanted to talk about blocking the patterns, not just the person. A lot of times, let me share this in my Facebook group. Y'all give me just a second. Give me just a second. Give me just a second. I'm sharing it in my Facebook group. I said I was going to show up, and I am. I'm showing up as best as I possibly can, right? I'm here. I'm here. It's 1 o'clock. I'm here, and I'm here to do what I came to do. Yeah. So a lot of times we believe, right, that we're just going to block the person. We're never going to meet wait, let me close my window. Ooh, this car is going by. It's so beautiful outside, y'all. It is so beautiful outside. I am so excited about the weather getting warm, and we could go outside with maybe just a little light little hoodie or a little sweater or something and go on and do what we got to do. But I wanted to talk about blocking. Hold wanted to talk about blocking the patterns, not just the person. You know how we get upset? We got our good little cell phones now. Say hi, say hi. I see you watching. Thank you for watching. You know how we get involved with people and we keep thinking, like, all I got to do is block them. If I don't feel like being bothered, I'm going to block them. And the reality of the situation is the reason why we struggle, why that's still a problem for us, is primarily because you can block the person, but if you don't change the pattern, you're going to keep meeting the same person over and over and over again. And one of the things that I wanted to jump on here to say is that we have to get better at who we're attracting to ourselves, right? It's one thing to keep meeting people and the relationships not working out, right? Because of, a lot of different reasons. There's a lot of different reasons why relationships don't work, right? Because you thought you were compatible, but you're not. They have issues that are unrelated to you. They don't take care of themselves. I know somebody, one of my girlfriends met a guy who was a diabetic, and he kept eating different foods, right, that were unhealthy, and he had just lost his brother. And she said to me, she said, Kim, why would I continue to date somebody who's not taking care of themselves, right? So I understand that all relationships are not going to work out exactly as they should. All relationships are not going to be what we think they should be. But sometimes it's a pattern that is within us that causes us to keep meeting the same type of person. What can we do to change that? Let's talk about that. Let's wait a minute. What does it say? Oh, it says I want to talk about that. I want to talk about how you break the patterns of behavior. And what we have to do is we have to block the way that we've been doing business, right? Um the conversation I want to have for you tonight, this is what I want to talk about. Patterns are not rooted patterns are rooted in our belief systems and our childhood and unhealed wounds. You might block a person, but if the wound stays unhealed, you'll keep attracting the same person, just in a different body. If you grew up seeing love as unstable and people being emotionally unavailable, you might think that that's normal. It is not. It is not normal. It's not normal to be in relationship with people who don't know what they want. It is not healthy and it is not normal. The people you want to be involved with are the people who have their lives together, right? So it's not a curse, but if you keep repeating the same behavior over and over and over again, you're going to keep meeting the same type of person. You know, it's important. It is vitally important. Y'all also, y'all got to meet me over in them TikTok streets. Tonight is Wednesday. I'm going to be over there at 8 o'clock tonight. It's going down. Meet me over there in them TikTok streets at 8 o'clock tonight. I'm going to be going all the way live over there. I love those streets. Those people are just amazing. I'm meeting new people and all the things, right? So it's really dope as far as I'm concerned, right? Some of the things that I think we need to ask ourselves is what kind of partner do I consistently attract? And do I keep meeting people who are emotionally unavailable? What red flags do I consistently ignore when I see them? What do I usually tolerate and I stay around too long, right? What types of people get me excited but end up hurting me? Like those are some questions that you should ask yourself. You should definitely write down. You should pay attention to, because if you keep attracting the same type of partner, what does that say? Why is that okay? It's not okay, right? So ask yourself the questions, be reflective, and ask yourself the questions: what kind of partner do I consistently attract? You may want to write these down. What red flags do I consistently ignore? Right? For me, if I could be perfectly honest with you, I'm going to be honest. One of the red flags that I consistently ignored in my life was when people are emotionally unavailable. When they're not all the way in, right? When I see them not 10 toes down in the relationship. Um, and the reason why I ignored it, because I had to do this work myself. The reasons why I ignored it is because I wasn't 100% in. I wasn't 10 toes down. Right. So hey, Tanya, I see you, my love. How are you, baby? I see you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. And thank you for saying hello that you're watching, because some people are on, but they're not saying hello. They're not saying anything, right? So I had to ask myself, what are some of the red flags? And some of the red flags are, or were for me, that I was meeting people that were emotionally unavailable. They weren't really down to give me what the relationship really needed. But then I had to ask myself, was I emotionally available? Right? So I would always meet people that would meet me just enough, because at the time I really wasn't digging deep. I really didn't want anything for real, right? And I was just kind of coasting through life. I wasn't being intentional about what I needed and what I wanted. And because of that, I stayed in relationships a lot longer, even having people as friends. And these people did not meet my requirements. In fact, I had no real requirement. And that was a problem to begin with. Right? So if I keep ignoring the red flags, it says something about me. And when I sat with myself and I began to be self aware as to what I was doing, I realized that I wasn't emotionally available. Not only was I meeting people that weren't emotionally available and 10 toes down, wanting to build something, but I myself was not emotionally available. And that presented a whole problem for me. And sometimes I would even actually abandon myself in the relationship. I would then begin, once I kept, getting closer, because what a lot of people don't know about me specifically is it takes me a long time to really like somebody. It really does, because I need to be able to trust you. More importantly, I need to be able to trust myself, right? And when I was in relationship, even married, I still reserved a piece of myself so that I could not, so that I reserved a piece of myself so I wouldn't get hurt. So I didn't want to give all of myself, and primarily because I didn't trust my ex-husband. He gave me pause, right? And so I was still then, and I'm reverse engineering this in a real way, because hey, Sam, I see you, my love. How are you, baby? I love you, sister. I gotta call you. We got to get together. So, because when I was married, I still reserved a piece of myself. And part of the reason why I did that was because I didn't feel safe. And because I didn't feel safe, I did not allow myself to be in my feminine energy. Right. So there's a rhyme and a reason for everything. And once I begin to unpack what was really going on in me, I don't make demands anymore. My very presence commands a certain level of love, time, and attention in order for a relationship to work. I need to feel. So I had to identify what was really going on in me. And here's the thing, a lot of people don't want to do this body of work, but in order to get to healthy and happy love, in order to have happy and healthy relationships, you've got to ask yourself the question, because a lot of times we end up blocking people and discarding people, getting rid of them, rooted in because they're not treating us out right. But why is it that we are even engaged or involved with people who don't treat us properly? Right? So the question then becomes, why does this keep happening to me? This requires a level of self awareness. If you do not want to be in relationship with people who only want to have sex with you, but don't want to build with you, don't want anything that is lasting with you, then the problem, real talk, is not them. The problem is breaking the cycles, breaking the patterns, being able to let those chains fall off of you so that you can build something better, to heal so that you can get to the better in your life, right? I we're not here to try to fix anybody else. The relationship is literally showing us who we are, right? And how we genuinely feel about ourselves. So I've been talking a lot lately about reciprocity in relationships. And I think that you don't get to the point where you realize that you need a thing until you begin to heal. And so now I don't want to have relationships that are not reciprocable. I don't want to have it because I know what I bring to the table. I know how to set the table when a gentleman brings the table. I know my worth and I know my value now. I did not always know this. And so because I was always kind of playing small and not really loving full out, now that I've done the body of work to heal, I've gotten better. Right? I don't accept the same things. I don't allow the same things in my life anymore. When you come and you come into my circumference, you have to understand the importance of reciprocity in relationship. You have to understand the importance of consistency. So now it's like we have to shift and change and block the old habits, the old ways of doing business, not just block that person, but change who you are and how you show up in relationships in order for you to get to healthy and happy. It is oxymoronic to believe that somebody is going to be different if you haven't changed the dynamics of what you allow in your life. Of course, you're going to meet the same type of people until you identify the patterns of behavior that keep you stuck, right? Of course, your relationship is not going to shift. And this is for married people. Of course, your relationship is not going to shift if you don't change the way that you're doing business, right? I couldn't fix my marriage if I had tried because I did not at that time have the tools to fix it. I needed to work on me. We needed to set new ground rules in my marriage, right? As a single woman, I realized that in order for me to get to where it is that I want to be, I had to change the dynamics of how I showed up and rendered. I had to speak my truth. I had to be honest with myself. I had to check my own self. I had to become self aware. I couldn't continue to think that things were going to be amazing and wonderful. Oh, somebody's going to recognize. No, they're not going to recognize anything. They're not going to recognize it until I recognize it. So I had to change the way that I was doing business in order to be successful, right? Even in my friendships, even in my relationships with my family, right? The relationship I have with my children who happen to be dope and amazing adults, right? But it required me to shift something in myself first. Y'all say hello, say hello. I see y'all watching. Say hello. You know? So one of the key things that I had to do was I had to be seriously honest with myself. I mean, radically honest with myself. Kim, how did you get here, girl? How did you find yourself in yet again another relationship where the person, and I'm not talking about a sexual relationship necessarily, but how did you find yourself in a relationship befriending somebody who does not have your back? No, we're not doing that. I am only dealing with people who are reciprocal people who want some of the same things that I want. That's it. That's it. That's all. And then I had to be honest because I was the one who let everybody in before. I had to be honest with myself. They didn't break my door down. I accepted them because I didn't have a standard. So now the thing that I realized is I had to change my behavior in order to reach where it is that I want to be, right? I had to set a standard for my own life. And healing begins when we stop lying to ourselves about about what it really is, right? Just to say we're not alone, right? Now, when you begin this body of work, I mean, sometimes it brings you to tears because of your past. And sometimes we don't want to do the work because it brings too much up for us. It hurts. It hurts that we let ourselves down. But anything worth having is worth fighting for. And that begins inside of us, right? The other thing I had to do was I had to rewire my belief system. I had to rewire it. I couldn't think like I had to unlearn all the lies that I even told myself. Hey, Tony, I see you, my love. Okay, good, good. I'm glad you was able to jump on, baby. I'm glad that you were able to jump on. Yeah. So I had to unlearn all of the lies that I told myself. Well, I had to go after people. I had to chase them. I had to make them bigger than me. No, no, no. Real love doesn't do any of that. When I love myself, hey, Nell, I see you. Hey, Donna, I see you. When I begin to love myself, my mindset, I needed to change my mindset in the things that I saw. But also, I needed to make sure, right, that I unlearned that horrible behavior that made me think I wasn't worthy. I had to unlearn that behavior because part of the reason why I did some of the things that I did was because I didn't believe in myself. I didn't think myself to be worthy. I didn't think myself to be enough. So I settled for a lot of things that did not honor me, right? So it's blocking not just the person, but it's blocking the patterns of behavior that allow those type of people to be in our lives, right? People who are not in alignment with us, right? Because here's the thing, using the example of my girlfriend who met a guy who was a diabetic, right? Using that example, you can tell how much he loves himself by what he does every day. If he's eating poorly, he's a diabetic. And I'm just going to use that as an example. One of the things that she said, Kim, I can't date him because he doesn't even care about himself. He's eating all the wrong things, knowing that he's a diabetic. He just lost his brother to diabetes from not eating the right things. So why would I lock down with the gentleman who is not about taking care of his own self? He cannot possibly take care of me. And I recognized that, and I left that guy alone. Right? Now I'm talking to my sisters when I use that as an example, but even men, there are guys that I know who have told me horror stories about dating a woman, going out first, second date, going to her house, and she dipped. She got her whole, she looked like she came out of a fashion magazine, but he went to her house and her bed was on the floor and does that look like wife material? It does not. Right? While taking care of the outside of you, you're not taking care of the other things that really matter. I don't care if you got on red bottom shoes if you're not taking care of where you live. So you spent $1,200 or $800 or however much they cost on a pair of red bottom shoes, but you don't have a bed to sleep on. Men pay attention to that. Because I'm not saying that doesn't make her a good person. I'm telling you she's not taking care of herself. So why is she not taking care of herself? Why is he not taking care of himself? Because he doesn't love himself enough to do it. So how could anybody who does not love themselves love you? When people are reckless and they're out here and they're doing their thing and they want somebody to have sex with or to be with and be in their corner, right? You got to look, oh God. I got my windows open and the trucks are going down the street making a lot of noise. But yeah, so when you see that in an individual, it means that something has to shift. And you can't tie yourself to people who don't care about themselves. So I had to unlearn the behavior and the pattern of trying to love people back to loving themselves. No, that's not my job. That's not my responsibility. So I thought, because I'm fair and equitable, it's how I show up. That's who I am. And I was thinking, well, if that doesn't make him a bad person. No, it doesn't make him a bad person, Kim, but you cannot love the hell out of people. You have to function and allow them to grow into who it is that they need to be before you get yourself entangled with them. You can't change people, Kim. The only person you can change is yourself. So I had to unlearn that. Because I thought all I had to do was keep speaking life to people. No, it doesn't work like that. Because if people don't love themselves enough to do whatever it is that they need to do for themselves, then listen, what you going to do with them? That means they can't love you enough. And I had to unlearn that. Because I was just accepting people and just loving on people. And I still love on people, but I love on them and leave them right where they at. I'm like, I love you. And I do. And I do. I promise you I do. But I can't make you want to change. And so here I am trying to fix everything. No. That's not real love. That's not real love. I don't get to fix you. I get to assist you if you so desire. I get to be there for you and be in your corner. I get to be your friend. I get to love on you. You understand what I'm saying? But sometimes you just got to love people from a distance and wait until they catch up to you. Or don't wait. Move on and meet people who are in alignment with what it is that you want and need for your life, right? And that's the truth. And that's the truth, right? So boundaries, we need to set up boundaries that reflect healing, not hurt. Because when we focus on our pain, we keep drawing more and more pain into ourselves. When we focus on our hurt, we continue to bring that. I asked somebody yesterday, just kicking it, right? I said, listen, what's the end game for you? What is it that you really want? right? And they was emphatic about what they really wanted. They were emphatic about that. And I said, okay, but I don't get to change your mind or anything. But I think when you sit with the question, what is it that I really want for my life? What do I want my life to look like? If you're married, right? What is the relationship? What do you want your relationship with your husband or your wife to look like? Right? And if you want it to look like peace, love, service, and all the things, right? Happiness, joy, all of those wonderful things, then what you have to do is you have to become that, and then you have to speak that over your life daily. When you get up in the morning, if a wife, right? When a wife gets up in the morning, the very first thing that she ought to do is say, thank you, Lord, for everything that you've already done with gratitude, right? But also thank you for my husband, because while he is flawed, he is still beautiful. While he is flawed and he doesn't have it all the way together, neither do I, Lord. And I'm asking you to bless this man. You then begin to speak into that situation. You then begin to pray over them for nothing but the best. You then begin to say to them, I want my husband to win. I'm saying this from a woman's perspective. But the man, but wait, let me say one more thing. All I want to do is serve him. I want to be a blessing to him. If it is a man, if you understand the leadership role of a man, this is what you're called to do. This is what God has predestined men to do. I am predestined. So I'm going to care for my wife. I am going to serve my wife. I am going to make sure that my wife's needs are met. Right? If you're married, this is for the folks that are married. My only job is to serve and make sure that my wife or my husband has everything that they need. We are partners. We are, and I need, let me put my phone on, because my phone on do not disturb, right? So the attitude that I'm here to serve, having the attitude that I want to bring my personal best to my partner, right? That's how all of this begins. Wanting to live in the truth of we're in partnership together and we're going to fix this thing and we're going to serve one another and we're going to be kind to one another and gracious to one another, right? Because sometimes we treat people at work better than we treat the people at home. I've done it. I've done it. I've done it with my kids. I've done it with my ex-husband. I treated people at work far better than I ever treated my family. I'm telling the truth. My hand is raised. I am not exempt. And I learned over the years that that's not the way that it ought to go. I am to pour into my family, into my children. I am to pour into those who pour into me. I am to love at a level that is as best as I can, to show people that I am here for them and I am a servant of the Most High. I know who I am. I didn't always know this. So I didn't do things right. I didn't do things according to the will and the word of God, right? We are not setting boundaries for our lives. And I need to say this because out of hurt, we're setting boundaries to reflect our healing, right? Because boundaries are important. We're not setting boundaries to punish people. We are setting boundaries to protect the relationship. And when you say to your partner or your potential partner, when you speak your truth, you are literally saying, I want this relationship to work. I want to work on myself. I want you to work on yourself. And I want this relationship to work. So I'm going to tell you the truth. This makes me feel like this. And I apologize I apologize that I made you feel like this or that. But setting boundaries is a good place to begin your healing, because now we're breaking the chains that keep us bound. Part of the reason why we keep getting into bad, unhealthy relationships is because we have the same pattern of behavior. It has to change. Healing is where we need to be. And consequently, I'm gonna go on and give you all, some more steps for all of this. But I want to say this. I want you all to join me at my workshop on May the 10th. It's the day before Mother's Day at Platawish Park in Franklin Square. It is going to be absolutely amazing. The link is on my page. I'm going to post it again today when I get off this live. I really want you to be a part of it because it's going to be amazing. When I tell you it's going to be real talk, and I'm going to be passing that around the microphone. Brothers are coming too because they are supporting me. So the men are welcome to come. It really is for the women, but the men are welcome to come as well. And we're going to have a good time. There are some exercises and some things that we're going to be doing, right, throughout the workshop that is going to help you to get better, right? So here's the question I have for you. Do you want chaos or do you want peace? Because if you want the peace, it's going to require you to do some things differently. It's going to require a shift in your mindset. It's going to require a great desire to change. Because everything that we've been doing up to a point really truly hasn't been working for us. And I'm being honest. Donna says, if I learned one thing from you, it's about boundaries. And this has given me so much peace so I can be healed and free. Donna, thank you so much for saying that, sweetheart. I'm so grateful for you because it's really important. But can I tell y'all, and I said this the other day, like you're just one decision. Just one. You're just one decision away from having an amazing life. And people don't realize that. But you're one decision away from having an amazing life. Like, do you want chaos or do you want peace, right? The decision is I want peace. Most people, that's what I want, peace in my life, right? So in order to get the peace, you have to be peaceable. You have to change the dynamics. And then you've got to declare and decree over your life that anything that is bringing you chaos, I no longer will entertain it. That's the truth. And then you have to stick to your guns and not just do things for the sake of doing something. When people invite me out, first of all, I'm a homebody, right? People invite me out to all kinds of events and I see different things going on. It's literally, y'all pray for me. It's like you got to drag me out of the house to go somewhere. It's not a personal thing. That's just how I show up sometimes, or I don't, right? Like, I don't. I've gotten so used to being in the house that now to get me out of the house is like him. It's like pulling teeth. It's like, it's horrible. And then sometimes I feel horrible because I just want to be peaceful. I don't want to be out in the crowd and all the chaos and all of this. So I struggle, right? But I realize that if I stay in the house, I'm not available to meet new people. I realize that if I want to have fun, I got to do something a little bit different than what I've always done. You know what I'm saying? So realizing that if I keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, but expecting something different to happen, I expect the UPS man to come break it to the house and say, listen, I want to be with you. That's not going to happen, right? Yeah, I'm so serious. But I'm such a homebody and I'm so much in my own peace but I have to break the pattern, right? I got to break the pattern because it's a pattern of behavior that I've gotten quite comfortable with. And besides the fact that I love my own company, that's crazy, right? I said, Kim, I don't think this is healthy at this point, but I love my own company. I really do. And I am at peace with myself, if that makes any sense, right? So here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Healing is about becoming unavailable for anything that does not align with your peace, your values, or your future. So there are some things that I need to work on within myself, but I've also got to get out of my own way and break these patterns of behavior that keep me stuck, right? So we go through all emotions. We meet people like, oh yeah, that's my boo, da 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 da, da. And you know, and I want this relationship to work. And then you find out that's not working for you, and you go out and you meet somebody else, and you find out, you know, that person is not the person for you, and you can't figure out why it is that you can't meet anybody good and have anybody good in your life. And we block all of those other people from calling our phone, but our healing isn't in our phone, it's in our patterns. But let's start changing up our patterns of behavior. Let's start doing something different so that we can get a different result. And we have to take the time to heal in order to get to where it is that we really want to be. It doesn't work any other way. It doesn't work any other way. You want your life to change? Listen, we need to get out of our own way. You don't need to block another person. You need to elevate your energy. You need to shift your energy. You need to shift what you need and what you want. You got to shift your mindset. You have to be intentional. If I made a decision that I'm no longer entertaining relationships that are not reciprocable, and people who don't understand my value and my worth, then I'm out. I'm out. It doesn't even like I made that decision for myself. And now if I find that the relationship is not reciprocated, I'm out of there. I'm out of there. I don't need it. And while I love everybody and I want nothing but the best for you and I want to see you win, this relationship, it does not work for me. I'm not going to chase you to be friends with you. I'm not going to chase you for you to love me. I'm not going to diminish who I am to be in alignment with what you want, but out of alignment with what I want and need. You understand? This is important, y'all. Because we can't ever get to where it is that we truly want to be if we're not intentional about the decisions that we make and then honor those decisions that we made for our lives. And can I tell y'all something? And this is real talk. I really mean this. I really mean this. Right after you make the decision for your life, right after you do that, right after you make the decision for what you want, a test is going to come. A test is going to come to see if you were 10 toes down in what you said you wanted. A test, you're going to be tested. And in that moment, and then you might be tested again and again to make sure that you got the lesson. Because here's the truth, it's not anybody else, it's you. It's what we allowed. It's what we accepted. Because we did not take the time to understand what we wanted and needed for our lives. Are we aware of what it is that we need? Are we sure about that? Are we being gracious and kind to ourselves by entertaining people who don't have the capacity to love us? And that's for both men and women. Because brothers would be like, but she fine though. But she ain't going to do you right. You know why she not going to do you right? She only going to give you but so much. And the reason why is because if she doesn't feel safe, she's going to fall right back into her masculine. And so while you think she cute, she not going to respect you because she doesn't feel like you're making her safe enough to respect you. You're just like everybody else. And my sisters, y'all hold the keys to the kingdom. And I don't think y'all really know that. You are powerful beyond measure. So is my brothers, but my sisters, Y'all y'all set the tone for everything. I mean, the man sets the tone if he's serious or not. But you set the tone of whether or not you deal with a man that's not serious. And the new word is unserious. If he's unserious, then why are you with him? Why are you wasting your time? We blocking people all day, every day. And what we need to do is be changing our patterns. Blocking the patterns that keep us bound. That's what we need to do. Yeah, y'all. It's time for a shift. It's time for things to shift. I'm telling you right now. Like, we're not going to get to where it is that we want to be until we shift our intentions and our mindset. If you're ready to stop playing games, if you're ready to get serious, if you're ready to change the patterns of behavior, then what I want you to do is I want you to join me at my workshop on May the 10th. It is absolutely going down. And my class is actually starting back up in May. And so I will send you the information. All you have to do is inbox me and I will send you the information about my upcoming class, so that you can be prepared to be a part of it. But time is out for playing games. Time is out for playing games. And if you're ready to really shift and change your life, then you will become a part of my workshop and hopefully my class. Even if you can't make it Mother's Day weekend, you can still be a part of my class. Yes, I love y'all like I love me some fried chicken. I promise y'all I do. I really, really do. And I hope that you walked away from something today, because it's too much to stay in this place. The cost is too high to stay unhealed. It's a lot of wasted time. It's a lot of wasted time, you know? And then we be looking back and saying, I just wasted 5 years of my life. Yeah. Because we never changed. We just kept thinking that somebody else was going to come in and treat us good. Because we ain't have boundaries. Because we ain't do what we were supposed to do for us, because we didn't heal. And we keep doing the same things over and over again and expecting somebody to love us and treat us right. Finally, usually doesn't happen. Not until we understand who we are, not until we understand our value and our worth. There are some people I will never deal with again in life, not because I hate them, but because they're not in alignment with me and what I want for my life. And I love them. I wish them the best. I want them to win, but they don't want what I want. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I love y'all like I love cooked food. I promise y'all I do. Y'all have an awesome and amazing day, and I will talk to y'all later. Y'all be blessed here.